You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that
She's not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
The Snow White remake just turned into a real-life battle royale, and it's not pretty.
The cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power.
Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler, they're at each other's throats with accusations, boycotts, and drama spilling everywhere. Is this Disney's biggest PR nightmare yet? Gal Gadot fires back at Rachel Zegler. What's meant to be Disney's magical Snow White reboot has morphed into a media firestorm, thanks to a feud between Gal Gadot, playing the evil queen, and Rachel Zegler, cast as Snow White. You'd think this drama would stay on screen, but things have taken a turn into real-life conflict, and it's loaded with tension, alleged clashes, and public statements that have everyone asking what's really going on behind the scenes. It started with Zegler, who was excitedly promoting Snow White, until a tweet changed everything. Back in August, Disney dropped the first trailer, and the numbers were big, racking up over 120 million views in just 24 hours. Zegler jumped onto social media to thank her fans for their support. But in the next tweet, she wrote "Free Palestine," which threw a wrench into the fairy tale image she was building. This wasn't just a bold political stance, the timing sparked massive controversy, especially since Zegler's co-star Gadot has been outspoken about her support for Israel. Gal Gadot, who grew up in Israel, served in the Israeli Defense Forces, and is known for her strong pride in her heritage, has voiced her support for Israeli families, particularly after the recent and tragic violence in October 2023. So, for many, it seemed like Zegler's tweet was more than a personal opinion. It came across as a direct contradiction to Gadot's views, and fans quickly took sides. The tweet went viral, but not in the way Zegler hoped. Many fans felt it was insensitive to post such a statement during the promotion of a family-friendly Disney movie. The backlash was swift, with some calling for a boycott of Snow White, accusing Zegler of using her platform in a way that would alienate audiences. For Gadot, this wasn't just another co-star's political statement. She took to Instagram with what seemed like a carefully crafted response. Instead of directly responding to Zegler's tweet, she posted a story with a Martin Luther King Jr. quote promoting peace and unity. But the message was clear. Gadot wasn't about to engage in public arguments, but she wanted her stance on peace to be known. The tension didn't stop there. It wasn't long before rumors started swirling that things were icy on set. According to an exclusive from the Daily Mail, sources close to the production hinted that the two actresses had, allegedly, been at odds for a while. Some fans even started calling this feud "Don't Worry Darling 2.0, referencing another famously chaotic movie set. But instead of a psychological thriller, this time the drama was unfolding in an enchanted forest. When Disney held its D23 event, a massive expo showcasing their upcoming films, fans were watching closely to see how Gadot and Zegler would interact. And let's just say it wasn't exactly a picture-perfect moment. On stage, Gadot appeared her usual warm self, even putting an arm around Zegler in an attempt to show unity. But Zegler's body language was a different story. She seemed uncomfortable, her expression a little too forced, as if she was just tolerating the situation rather than embracing it. Photos of the event went viral, with social media ablaze as fans dissected every interaction, gesture, and glance. If this weren't enough, Gadot took things a step further. She retweeted a post calling out the use of a personal agenda over the head of a co-star who has actually lived through war. Fans couldn't help but read between the lines, taking it as a direct jab at Zegler's perceived insensitivity and questioning her motives. This was no longer about the movie itself, but about two clashing ideologies. Gadot, the veteran actress with personal ties to the Israel-Palestine conflict, and Zegler, a rising star unafraid to voice her opinions publicly, were now pitted against each other in a PR storm that neither Disney nor the fans saw coming. With the media frenzy surrounding them, questions are swirling about what this means for the movie's release. Could this off-screen drama actually overshadow the film itself? Disney's bold Snow White reboot shocks fans. As if the off-screen drama wasn't enough, Disney's live-action remake of Snow White had fans doing a double take for its storyline changes and character reboots. This isn't the classic Snow White we remember. No magic kiss, no Prince Charming swooping in to save the day. Disney wanted to modernize the tale, and boy did they ever. In this reboot, Snow White is now the hero of her own story, determined to reclaim her kingdom and rule with strength, with a plot twist that completely abandons the 1937 version. And Zegler, well, she's not shying away from making her opinions on the original storyline known. She said in interviews that the original Snow White isn't exactly the fairest of them all when it comes to strong female characters. She's even called out the prince's role as creepy and made it clear she has no plans to embody the innocent, love-struck Snow White we know from Disney's original. Instead, Snow White is all about power and leadership. Forget love and dwarfs. This Snow White is on a mission, and it's a change that sparked fierce debate. But fans weren't just surprised, they were outraged. Zegler's blunt remarks about wanting a Snow White who doesn't just stand around waiting to be saved felt to some fans like she was dissing the original. The classic Disney fans who'd grown up with the 1937 Snow White didn't take kindly to these changes. The backlash was intense, with many accusing Disney of ruining a beloved story by replacing it with what they called woke agendas. Then came the announcement about the dwarfs. Disney opted not to cast actors with dwarfism, instead using CGI characters, a choice that sparked yet another wave of outrage. Critics argued that the decision wasn't inclusive at all, with actors who have dwarfism pointing out how few roles they're already given in Hollywood. Adding fuel to the fire, the CGI dwarfs were revealed in the trailer, and reactions were, well, let's just say they weren't great. The characters looked unnatural, clunky, and out of place compared to the richly animated originals. For fans, this was another sign that Disney had taken their reboot in the wrong direction. Behind the scenes, Disney seemed to be scrambling. Originally slated for release in March 2024, Snow White was pushed back an entire year, officially due to the ongoing SAG-AFTRA strike. But industry insiders suspect there's more to it than just scheduling issues. With the poor reception of the trailer, Disney likely needed more time to rework certain elements, especially after leaked photos showed the CGI dwarfs and caused immediate backlash online. And then there's the budget. With all the delays, reworks, and controversies, the film's production costs have skyrocketed. What was initially set at around $200 million has reportedly ballooned to over $330 million. Yep, that's more expensive than Avengers: Infinity War, a blockbuster featuring an ensemble cast of superheroes and high-stakes galactic battles. This massive budget puts Snow White in the top tier of the most expensive movies ever made, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The movie is expected to pull in almost $1 billion just to break even, a number that seems harder to reach by the day as fans voice their concerns. So what's really going on with Disney's direction? With so much backlash, some are wondering if this new Snow White is even a Disney movie anymore. This new empowered Snow White isn't cleaning up after dwarfs or waiting for Prince Charming. Instead, she's taking over her kingdom, leaving many fans feeling that Disney's nostalgic touch has been lost. As Disney braces itself for the public reaction, the question remains, can they really pull off a successful release, or will Snow White end up as a costly misstep? Tensions explode on Snow White promo tour. As Disney prepared for the massive publicity machine behind Snow White, they were likely hoping to showcase the charm and talent of their two leading ladies, Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler. But things quickly got uncomfortable. Awkward even, as the tension between Gadot and Zegler spilled over from rumors into very visible, very public moments. At a high-profile event that previews the company's upcoming releases, the two actresses took the stage together to promote the film. For many in the audience, this was the moment to get a sense of the chemistry between the iconic villain and the reinvented heroine. But the atmosphere didn't exactly scream Magic Kingdom. Gadot, dressed with her usual grace, smiled and greeted the audience with warmth, and she even put an arm around Zegler. It was meant to be a sign of unity, but Zegler's body language told a different story. She looked visibly tense, her smiles tight and brief, and her posture stiffened with each cheer from the crowd. For fans who'd been following the alleged feud, this interaction was fuel for the fire. The internet wasted no time analyzing every movement, every glance, as people shared videos, GIFs, and memes dissecting the frozen vibes Zegler seemed to be giving off. Social media immediately latched onto the awkwardness. Comment sections lit up with fans divided on who to support. Some championed Gadot's professionalism, while others defended Zegler's right to her beliefs, though many found her attitude at the event somewhat alienating. It wasn't long before fans noticed that Gadot seemed to take the high road, skillfully dodging questions that might have added to the drama, while Zegler seemed more guarded, keeping her responses short and looking as though she were itching to get off the stage. If Disney's PR team had hoped for a moment of solidarity, this was not it. The tension didn't just stop with this. The promo tour moved on to talk shows and press events, and rumors swirled that the stars' interactions were kept to a minimum behind the scenes. An insider close to the production hinted that the Disney team was working overtime to manage the situation, allegedly scheduling separate interviews and photo ops to keep their stars out of each other's way. Reportedly, they even had the actresses sit on opposite ends of panels, and whispers of arguments off stage surfaced. Though none of these reports have been confirmed by Disney, they fueled speculation that Disney's investment in the Snow White reboot was teetering on a razor's edge. To add a twist to the storyline, some fans even noticed what seemed like shade thrown online. Gadot, known for her eloquence and diplomacy, posted subtle messages that could be interpreted as addressing Zegler's Free Palestine stance. One tweet in particular, which Gadot later retweeted, talked about staying grounded and using one's platform responsibly. Fans saw this as a clear dig at Zegler, especially in light of Gadot's stance on Israel. Zegler, meanwhile, appeared to stay quieter than usual on social media, almost as if she were letting Gadot's posts speak louder than her own. The stakes have only grown as Disney braces for the film's release. With each public appearance, fans and critics alike are closely watching for signs of discord between Gadot and Zegler. And with every move dissected, it begs the question, can this promo tour survive the icy reception between its two lead stars? How long can Disney keep up the charade of harmony, or will more cracks start to show as the release date inches closer? Rachel's Free Palestine tweet sparks chaos. If you thought a fairy tale promo couldn't get political, Rachel Zegler's tweet made sure to change that. After thanking fans for their support on social media, her follow-up tweet, Free Palestine, added a whole new twist. Some saw it as bold, others as reckless, especially given the movie's Disney brand and its history of staying far away from such high-stakes global conflicts. But Zegler, known for speaking her mind, didn't seem to flinch at the fallout. Instantly, the internet lit up, with supporters and critics alike dissecting her message. To some fans, her tweet was a show of solidarity. To others, it was a risky move, one that could have consequences not just for Zegler, but for the entire movie's success. The reaction was swift and intense. Zegler's tweet didn't sit well with Disney's traditionally diverse fan base, especially those who felt the issue was too charged for a Disney film's promo tour. The tweet drew immediate backlash from Jewish fans and supporters of Israel, many of whom took Zegler's post as a personal insult. Accusations that she was attempting to overshadow her movie's release quickly followed, with some fans even calling for a boycott. It didn't take long for Twitter to erupt into a full-on debate, with some wondering why she chose this moment to voice such a statement. But here's where things take an even sharper turn. Zegler's co-star Gal Gadot has personal ties to Israel, and her own recent statements regarding the October 2023 attacks on Israel had just surfaced. Gadot has never hidden her pride for her heritage or her support for Israel. We all know she's one of Hollywood's few Israeli megastars, having served in the Israeli Defense Forces before her acting career. She openly condemned the violence Israel endured during the attacks and shared support for Israeli families affected. Fans speculated that Zegler's tweet was a pointed statement and possibly even a jab at Gadot's stance. To make things even messier, the public quickly began to question Disney's handling of the matter, with some wondering if the studio would issue any response or whether this was just the beginning of the film's PR troubles. Disney's $330 million Snow White gamble could tank. Beyond the personal tension between Gadot and Zegler, Disney is facing an even bigger challenge: the public's reaction to the Snow White remake itself, which is far from the universally beloved classic. Early glimpses of the film hinted at bold creative choices that have fans divided, and the stakes are astronomically high. With a reported production budget that's now ballooned to a staggering $330 million, the film needs to be a massive box office success just to break even. But considering the less than warm reception of the teaser trailer and the controversy swirling around its stars, Disney may be looking at one of its riskiest bets yet. Here's where the numbers get frightening. According to industry experts, Snow White will need to gross close to $1 billion to make back its investment. With an ambitious production, reshoots, and a high-profile cast, this isn't just any film, it's an ultra-expensive gamble that could turn into a financial disaster if audiences don't respond positively. And things aren't looking great so far. The trailer received over 1 million dislikes compared to just 70,000 likes, becoming Disney's most disliked trailer in recent memory. The comments section was flooded with criticism, from CGI choices to accusations that Disney was disrespecting the classic by rewriting its essence. This is far from the response Disney expected. The backlash to the CGI dwarfs alone has been intense. Instead of casting actors with dwarfism, Disney opted for CGI characters, which didn't sit well with audiences. The criticism was loud and clear. Many fans felt this decision wasn't inclusive, and actors within the dwarfism community spoke out, pointing to the missed opportunity for authentic representation. The trailer's CGI dwarfs, described by some as looking more like video game characters than enchanted beings, became the latest target of fan discontent. Disney's attempt to modernize the dwarfs through CGI has led to accusations that the studio lost sight of what made Snow White timeless in the first place. And then there's the casting and character direction. Zegler's interpretation of Snow White as a fierce, empowered heroine who doesn't need saving was intended to resonate with modern audiences, but it also left fans divided. Many critics feel that Disney's attempt to give the story a woke makeover sacrificed some of the fairy tale magic and innocence that made the original beloved. The decision to remove Prince Charming altogether, along with Snow White's rejection of traditional romance, was yet another bold change that didn't go over well with everyone. For many fans, this new Snow White feels like a completely different character, one who's traded her innocence for power moves and an agenda. Disney's costly choice to reimagine Snow White as a feminist leader might appeal to a contemporary audience seeking empowered characters, but it's clear that some Disney loyalists feel alienated. This reimagining isn't just about updating a fairy tale, it's about redefining it entirely, and that's a risk that could cost Disney big. And with every added controversy, the public's willingness to embrace these changes is put to the test. Beyond fan reaction, Disney is dealing with serious financial repercussions. The soaring budget, now inflated by extensive CGI and character redesigns along with marketing costs, means the studio is in an increasingly tight spot. If Snow White fails to meet its projected earnings, the financial fallout could be massive. With recent Disney films like The Little Mermaid struggling to break even, the pressure to deliver a hit is more intense than ever. But with critics calling the trailer lackluster and audiences hesitant, there's an air of uncertainty that Disney can't ignore. The company's strategy, whether it involves doubling down on the modernized narrative or making last-minute tweaks, will need to be executed carefully. They're balancing nostalgia with bold new interpretations, and if they miscalculate, Snow White could end up being one of Disney's biggest flops. For a studio known for its fairy tale endings, this might be a story that doesn't end happily ever after. Some are even calling it Disney's $330 million lesson in misjudgment. What do you think? Will Disney's Snow White be a hit or a total disaster? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's see where everyone stands. If you enjoyed diving into this drama, don't forget to like, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for more behind-the-scenes stories. Thanks for watching.